in?
No.
Go up for that. Now, don't muck it about. The ambulance is here.
Sierra Oscar from 218 receiving, over.
Receiving 218.
Yeah, 36 Nogan Road. I've effected an entry. The occupier's unconscious, but she's still alive. Ambulance is here now.
She was in bright as rain this morning. I was having a chat with her over the back fence.
I've had a quick look, lads. There's no outward sign of injury. Was she on any kind of medication that you know of?
Irene, no. Occasional aspirin for the arthritis, but otherwise...
Yeah, OK, well, I'll check anyway. Excuse me. Sierra Oscar from 218 receiving, over.
Go ahead, 218.
Yeah, Nogan Road. Looks like there's been a burglary.
Do we have a next of kin? They'll need to be informed and to verify what's missing if they can.
She's got a daughter, apparently, sir. A Mrs. Taylor.
If you give me the details, then I'll contact her.
What's up, Gov?
Possible aggravated burglary. Then again, possibly not.
So what time was it, Mr. Kemp, when you saw Mrs. Harper in the back garden?
About 10:30.
You didn't see or hear anything after that, no?
I've been down to Bowls Club, haven't I? I come back about 1 o'clock. Got myself a bit of lunch, and I was off at the shops.
Mm-hmm. What time was that, then?
Past 2 o'clock. I give Irene a knock, see if she wants anything. That's what I always do. And there was no answer, which was unusual. So I went to look in the window, see if she was watching the telly, and hadn't heard me. And there she was, on the floor. So I dialed 999.
You haven't got a key, then?
Eh?
To this place?
Me?
Well, you seem to be on very good terms.
Leave it out. Joan wouldn't stand for that.
Joan?
The daughter.
Mrs. Taylor?
She don't trust no one.
Why is that? Has her mum got much worth nicking?
You better ask Joan, mate. She'll itemise it for you down to the last halfpenny.
Narika from the hospital, sir.
Inspector Monroe, Narika, what's the situation?
Well, they've done all the usual blood tests, sir, for aspirin and paracetamol. They're negative. There are no other symptoms. All her vital organs are functioning, so they're just keeping her comfortable.
But she's still unconscious.
Yes, sir. Oh, her daughter, Mrs. Taylor's been here. She's on her way to the house.
I haven't been able to find her handbag yet.
And she ever drives me mad. Picture's gone.
Picture?
Picture. Jug made of silver, our one and only family heirloom. She uses it as a vase.
Was it worth much?
She's been offered 700, so you can double that. It's to be mine.
If you could just be a bit careful with any smooth surfaces, Mrs. Taylor. Our scenes of crime officer might be able to lift some print,
Damn
yeah?
biscuit tin.
She doesn't keep her money in the house, does she?
She did. Stupid, pig-headed woman.
Any idea how much?
£3,400 2 days ago. She took great delight in showing me. Of course, you know about dear, kind Mr. Kemp next door, don't you?
I don't want to take Garfield off it completely, but £3.5 grand is a bit much, whether it's aggravated or just plain artifice.
Leslie Arthur Kemp. He's got a club number.
Irene wouldn't let nobody in. Not a stranger, not without knowing their life history.
So who would she let in, apart from yourself and Mrs. Taylor? Does she have any other friends? Visitors?
Nah, they're all more dead than mine are.
Well, she never goes out at all? Never meets anyone?
Only a St. Dolan's.
What, the church?
Yeah, the church hall. They got this day centre kind of thing. For the oldies, you know. Free coffee, lunch, sing-song. She staggers along there whenever she feels up to it. Or sometimes they come and fetch her in a car like.
What, it's a regular thing, is it?
I just told you. Only when she feels up to it.
But fairly frequently?
In the summer, yeah.
So who comes to pick her up, do you know?
Whatever do-gooder happens to be on duty. Lately, it's been a prat called Ralph. Sorry, Rafe.
Why is he a prat?
Wears a suit, doesn't he?
Was he at Nogan Road this morning?
I don't know. I was playing bowls, and you can check on that. Phone the secretary.
You were there till 1 o'clock, Mr. Kemp. You didn't call us till 2.
So when did you last see this man, Mr. Kemp?
Oh, yesterday. Day before. No. Hang on. He was there this morning. What am I saying? Of course he was. Not at the house, in the street. It's about 20 to 11. I'm going down the club, and there he was walking. Because he usually comes in his car, obviously. But this morning he didn't.
Sergeant Gregg from Sierra Oscar.
Alan Woods here, go ahead.
Just passing on a message from the hospital, Alan. There's some concern over Mrs. Harper's condition. Seems she's weakening a bit.
Okay, received, thanks. Bullets on Mrs. Harper. She's looking a bit dodgy.
No day centre today. So why was our man visiting her?
If he actually was. Personally, I think Mr. Kemp is feeding us horse manure.
Ralph Goodwin. Age middle 50s, 5'7", 8", medium build, grey in hair, glasses. Always well turned out in a suit and tie. Been helping at the day centre for just over 2 months now. And that's about all they know of him, apart from his address.
Well, he's a church volunteer. What do you expect? Positive vetting.
The address is a hotel.
We're currently at the Caulfield Hotel in Bladewick Street. Sergeant Gregg would like a check run, please, on the name Ralph Goodwin.
Ralph Goodwin.
Affirmative. And if that could be passed on to the LIO as well, please. He's apparently new to the area, though the only address we have is the hotel.
Received.
They've never heard of him.
Middle 50s, 5'7", 8", greying hair, glasses.
I've never met him.
Has your mum ever mentioned him?
Certainly not by name. And she's always saying how kind other people are to her. That's just to get at me.
Don't press too hard, Mrs. Taylor.
There's nothing in the address book, Sarge. All the other bits in the hall.
Is there anywhere else you might keep addresses and phone numbers, Mrs. Taylor?
Upstairs, maybe. I mean, by the extension. She keeps a pad with numbers on it. Mine, the doctor's. Kind Mr. Kemp next door. Does this stuff come off? I ought to put in another appearance at the hospital.
Sarge. Got him.
Sergeant Gregg from Sierra Oscar receiving.
Yes, receiving.
Your phone number, Sarge. It's another hotel. A bit more upmarket this time. The Langton House in Marshmore Road.
Mr. Goodwin? Yes? Police, sir. We need to speak to you. Detective Sergeant Gregg, Sunhill CID. This is Detective Constable Woods. May we come in?
How can I help you?
Just leaving, sir.
Well, this is a hotel.
We're investigating an incident at 36 Nogan Road earlier today, Mr. Goodwin, involving a Mrs. Irene Harper. I believe Mrs. Harper is known to you.
Irene, yes, yes. I've been helping at St. Dolan's Day Centre. She comes there sometimes.
And you ferry her to and fro?
Sometimes.
Only we're anxious to speak to anyone who may have visited her at home this morning to eliminate them from our inquiries. Did you by any chance visit Mrs. Harper today?
No. Why?
Is it okay if we check your luggage, sir?
I'm sorry about this, but we would appreciate your cooperation.
What are you looking for, exactly?
If you could just open the suitcase, please.
If you could tell me what the problem is, perhaps I could help.
Sarge! Is this yours, sir?
If it was in my bathroom.
What are these, Mr. Goodwin?
Well, they're certainly not Smarties.
Anything?
Not known to the LIO. No silver jugs or wads of banknotes in his car either. All we've got is his polite cooperation. Do you want the pill bottles brought to the interview room?
Yes, I do. Line them all up in front of him.
I simply can't say. And if you can't be specific about what drug it's likely to be...
But surely, if there's a possibility of an overdose...
Frankly, if it is an overdose and she's survived it this far, she's best left alone, weak as she is.
Good grief. Oh, poor Irene. She's going to be all right.
Her condition's very serious, hence our determination to establish what happened.
Yes, well, naturally.
The fact that she's remained unconscious for several hours suggests that she may be suffering from a drug overdose, yet she's not known to be taking any prescribed medication. And then here you are, Mr. Goodwin, a known acquaintance, in possession of this vast array. You appreciate our concern.
Yes. Yes, I do, but I find the implication extremely offensive.
Well, if there's any truth in the hypothesis, and I stress it is only a hypothesis, it's a very offensive crime, wouldn't you say? Did you visit Mrs. Harper this morning, sir?
No, I'm afraid not.
You're quite sure?
Yes, I am.
So if you weren't at Nogan Road, do you mind telling me where you actually were this morning?
In my hotel room.
All morning?
Unfortunately, I went for a walk for an hour or so. But I can't corroborate that. I hadn't realized I'd need an alibi.
Why did you give the day centre a false address?
Did I?
They thought you were staying at the Corfeld.
Oh, well, they probably made a mistake. They're not terribly efficient.
Mistake or not, it makes you difficult to find. They didn't mention you were moving on, either. Is that their mistake as well, or did you forget to tell them?
Oh, I was intending to call on the vicarage on my way.
On your way to where?
I don't decide until I get there. I'm in the rather fortunate position of the unattached semi-retired, you see. Free to wander. I've been abroad for many years, and now I'm catching up on England, as it were. Besides, wherever I go, I don't just rubberneck. I like to get to know the local community. Get involved for a bit. Hence the day centre.
And Mrs. Harper. Tell me about your relationship with Mrs. Harper.
Relationship? I ferry her to and from the day centre.
She has your telephone number on a pad beside her bed. Why does she have your phone number, Mr. Goodwin?
She's a lonely old lady. I'm there to listen if she wants to talk.
And does she ever talk about her arthritis?
Occasionally.
And do you ever recommend she takes drugs for it?
No, I don't.
I see. So, what exactly are all these tablets for, Mr. Goodwin? Why do you carry them around with you?
Well, they're not illegal substances. It's not a crime.
But are they yours? Were they prescribed for you?
Some of them were prescribed for me, yes.
Which ones?
These and these and these and these, I think.
You think? What conditions are they for?
Penicillin, anti-malaria, painkillers, and diuretics, I think. I'm not sure. They're all pretty old.
So why do you keep them?
For insurance, I suppose. If you've got them, you'll never need them.
Alan? DC Wood's leaving room.
What about these diuretics?
Hardly.
Well, what then?
Well, I'd have to check the markings, and they usually come in strips, not bottles. But I think they're hormone replacement.
What, for women, you mean?
Well, I don't think they do you any favours.
Alan. Data's calling from the hospital. Mrs. Harper seems to be coming round.
She snuffed it.
No, nothing. I mean, they thought she was regaining consciousness, and then that was it. Finish. Heart attack.
Not a blink. Same as always. Just shut the door without saying goodbye.
You going to tell him?
Not straight away. Has the DCI been informed?
Uh-huh.
Is he notifying Amit?
It's not murder yet, is it? What's the post-mortem?
Hormone replacement.
According to the surgeon. But one of them is painkillers, as Goodwin said, in the newest-looking container. Have another look at it. Tilt it to the light a bit. There's an indentation. Surgeon noticed it. Looks like the chemist was using an old manual typewriter.
Tell me again about your tablets, Mr. Goodwin. Are any of these for amnesia by any chance?
I can't remember.
Because only one of them turns out to be what you claimed.
I didn't claim anything.
Or maybe you're just shy about hormone replacement. This one. I suppose that would explain why you'd tear this particular label off. But why the rest?
I didn't tear them, they've just worn away. I'm not aware of it as being a crime, anyway. Label scratching?
No, it's not a crime. Just rather confusing. No patient's name, no chemist's name, no tablet description. But then that doesn't seem to bother you, does it, Mr. Goodwin? You take sleeping tablets for malaria, hormone replacement for water retention, anything goes with you. And yet here you still are, fit and healthy and on your travels, mixing with the local community and being nice to the old folk. Oh, yeah. Mrs. Harper died 15 minutes ago, by the way, if you're interested.
Of course I'm interested. That's very, very sad.
Oh, I don't know. She was a good age, and we all have to go sometime, don't we? Though she was a bit exceptional, as you know, in her attitude to drugs. There can't be many 80-year-olds nowadays who aren't on some form of medication. Be interesting to see what the post-mortem shows up, won't it? DC Wood's entering room. So, where did you say you were before you arrived at Sun Hill, Mr. Goodwin?
What?
Did you come here direct from abroad? You must show us your passport sometime. Got lots of exotic visa stamps, have you?
Not direct from abroad, no.
Oh, so you'd already started your tour of Britain, had you? Anywhere exciting?
Various places.
South Coast, maybe? Very popular with the old folk, of course, the South Coast. Costa Geriatrica, yes? I bet if you trolled the bathroom cabinets of, say, Eastbourne, you'd end up with a few tons of this stuff. Don't you reckon, Mr. Goodwin? Lots of lonely people with ailments and money, of course. But then what's money when you haven't got your health and there's no one to spend it on? These modern sticky labels are a pain, aren't they? You scratch and you scrape, but there's nearly always a residue. Sometimes you give someone a present and they can still see the price. Embarrassing. This one's not so much embarrassing as, well... Do you know anyone by the name of Miller, by any chance? You ought to. These are his painkillers. Very strong painkillers, too. Issued, is that 292, would you say? Yes. February 92. We seem to have a name and a date, Mr. Goodwin. So DC Woods has been phoning round the regional crime squads, you know, checking it out, seeing if anyone by the name of Miller has come to their attention recently. And we find that a Charles Edward Miller died in Eastbourne 3 months ago, aged 86. He used painkillers. In fact, the post-mortem showed the presence of 5 different drugs in his system. And he'd been burgled. The crime's currently unsolved. Is there anything you want to tell us about that? Mrs. Harper liked you and trusted you, and now she's dead. Is that what happened to Mr. Miller?
As you say, they were both at good age. So were all the rest.
The rest?
Oh, yes. I'm well into double figures. They don't all die, of course. It's not an exact science. But it is humane. They go out feeling warm and happy. A cup of tea, a slice of toast or a cracker, liberally spread with butter and jam, and other things. And me, sitting and chatting to them as they munch and sip. It's all very cozy. Especially when there's nothing else in their lives, nothing to look forward to. No real reason for living at all. If one brings life and companionship and a little laughter into such a miserable, pointless existence, one's entitled to some reward, surely. Don't lose that. It's the registered slip. Irene's things. I've posted them on. Pity. I've never been to Harrogate.